About a year ago, my best friend Patrick inherited an apartment in the city from his grandmother who passed away. He invited me to move in with him, and it became the place all our friends would come to for pre-drinks before heading out into the city. We are in our early 20s, and we would go out to bars and clubs every single week to party and try to pick up chicks. Patrick's apartment was the best place logistically as it was in the center of everything. Patrick always had a way with girls, and for as long as I've known him, girls have always thrown themselves at him. His family is rich, and he plays a lot of sports and goes to the gym. He's super fit and really outgoing and charismatic. He absolutely loves being the center of attention at parties and social gatherings. Honestly, I was always a little jealous of him. I struggled to get any kind of interest from girls. Especially when I was with Patrick, it was like I was invisible when he was around. He embraced the bachelor lifestyle and had a new girl in his bed every week. Up to that point in my life, I'd only had one girlfriend who had suddenly broken up with me out of nowhere about a month before Patrick asked me to move into his apartment with him. Her name was Renee, and we had been steady for over a year. I was blindsided by the breakup because I thought everything was perfect in our relationship. But this story isn't really about her, though she will make an appearance again later. I was living the party life with Patrick for 2 months when on a night out I met a girl. I was surprised because she wasn't the least bit interested in Patrick and seemed genuinely attracted to me instead. Her name was Anna, and she was a university student studying psychology. We were both drunk when we met, and she ended up coming back to the apartment with me, and we spent the night together. I thought that once she sobered up the next day, that would be it, just a one-night stand. But I was surprised when she wanted to hang out again, sober this time. Long story short, Anna and I became a couple and started dating exclusively. She would often come around and drink with me and Patrick and all our friends and go clubbing with us. Anna got along with all my friends, but she was a little standoffish towards Patrick. She said she wasn't really into buff party guys like him and preferred guys like me, more introverted and laid back. I noticed Patrick was a little weird towards Anna as well. He admitted to me one night when we were drunk that he's not used to when a girl isn't immediately attracted to him and said he was surprised when she ignored him and wanted to be with me. I didn't really know how to take that, so I just laughed it off and joked about him not always being the center of the universe. A couple months later, a week before my birthday, we had people around like we normally did before going out. I decided I was going to stay in that night because all the drinking was starting to catch up with me and I wanted to have a break before my birthday celebrations the next week. I knew from experience that Patrick would want a big party and would push me to drink until I passed out. Patrick left to go clubbing with everyone, and Anna stayed behind with me, and we watched a movie and went to bed. About 3 in the morning, I heard Patrick come home, drunk, and he had a girl with him as usual. I could hear them having sex from the other room. I remember thinking at the time the girl was as loud as my ex, Renee. Turns out there was a good explanation for that. When I went into the kitchen in the morning, Patrick's girl was in there getting a glass of water. It was Renee. I was in shock. I didn't know what to say. Renee seemed as shocked as I was. I asked what the hell she was doing there, but she didn't need to answer. I knew what happened. Patrick had met up with her sometime during the night, and she'd come back to the apartment with him to hook up. I was pissed at Patrick for banging my ex. It was a dog move, but I really couldn't say anything. We were broken up, and I was with Anna now. Renee was a consenting adult who could make her own decisions, but it still stung. I knew Patrick could get any girl he wanted, so why did he have to go for her? It was awkward seeing my ex in the kitchen, and I could tell she was still a little drunk. She said she heard I have a new girlfriend and asked if she was better looking. I said I wasn't going to answer and that I was going back to bed. Then she said something strange. She said, "You'd better keep an eye on her around Patrick. He likes to poach other guys' girlfriends, if you know what I mean." She took her water back into Patrick's room and left me standing in the kitchen wondering what the hell she meant by that. I just put it down to her being drunk and jealous of Anna, so I decided to just ignore it. I was more concerned about what I was going to say to Patrick about hooking up with my ex. I was still pissed about that. The next day, I brought it up with him, and he had the good grace to be ashamed of his actions. He apologized and said they ran into each other at the bar and she started flirting with him. He said, drunk Patrick went into autopilot mode and one thing led to another, and next thing he knows, they're back at the apartment banging on the couch. He promised he wouldn't do anything like that again, and that I needed to focus on my upcoming birthday. He wanted to throw a big party because not only was it my birthday, but he was going to Europe for 2 weeks a couple of days after. And that's what I did. I put it all behind me until the next weekend Patrick hosted a big birthday party for me at the apartment. Anna and Patrick seemed to both be working as a team to get me as drunk as possible. Whenever they saw me without a drink in my hand, one of them immediately jumped in and poured me another. Everything was going great. All our friends were there having a blast, and then Renee turned up. Patrick had invited her. What the hell, man? He said not to worry about it and that he accidentally told her about the party when he was drunk and invited her. He didn't think she'd remember, let alone turn up. Whatever. I was too drunk to care by that point. We were all meant to go out clubbing, but Anna and Patrick had done their jobs too well, and I ended up puking in the toilet and passing out on the floor. I didn't even make it out for my own birthday celebrations. Shame. The next morning, I woke up sleeping on a bed covered in vomit. I stripped the bed and threw all the sheets into the shower, and I sat under the water for ages, feeling very sorry for myself. Afterwards, I came out and saw Renee coming out of Patrick's room. Again, Patrick. Seriously. Renee looked up and saw me, and she had a strange look on her face and told me I looked like shit and then left the apartment. I went back to bed and passed out on the uncovered mattress. I slept until the next day. Patrick poked his head in briefly in the morning to say he'll see me in 2 weeks when he gets back from Europe. I told him to have fun and continued snoozing. A while later, I realized I hadn't seen or heard from Anna. Normally, she would text me. I thought maybe she was hurting from the party too, so I messaged her to see how she was doing. The day after that, I was still waiting for a reply after sending a few more messages. I was starting to get worried. I heard my phone go off and thought finally she'd gotten back to me, but it wasn't her. It was Renee, and her message was a long one. Basically, it was her apologizing for breaking up with me so abruptly all those months ago, and that she needed to tell me the truth and get something off her chest. She said the reason she broke up with me was because she had cheated on me. She had slept with Patrick and felt so guilty after that she broke up with me the next day. I froze when I read it. My heart dropped. What the hell, Patrick, you motherfucker? But that wasn't the end of her message. Renee said the night of my birthday, when everyone went out to the city, Anna and Patrick had dragged me onto my bed and left me there. When they came back home, they saw I had thrown up all over my bed. Patrick offered to share his bed with Anna, but she said she'd sleep on the couch. Patrick convinced her that they would all just sleep and no funny stuff would go on. So Anna agreed to sleep in the bed with Patrick and Renee. The next part of Renee's message absolutely shattered my heart, and I started crying when I read it. Renee said that one thing led to another, and Patrick somehow convinced Anna to have a threesome with her and Patrick. I stood staring at that part for a long time. Now it all became clear why Anna had been ignoring my texts. I immediately called her like 5 times, but the calls just rang out. I texted her and told her we were done. I may have used much stronger language and called her a few derogatory names, but can you blame me? I was livid. I went into Patrick's room to confront him and punch his face off, but he wasn't there. I forgot he had gone to Europe. I texted him that I was moving out and expressed my feelings towards him using a lot of colorful language. I took a piss on his bed and then went to the fridge and took out the fish I was going to have for dinner. I cut it into chunks and started hiding pieces around the house, under the couch cushions, behind cabinets, in the vents, under his bed. Every little nook and cranny I could find, I shoved raw fish into it. I found a couple cans of tuna and did the same with them. Then I packed all my shit, called my folks, and told them I was moving back home. A couple days later, Anna finally texted back. She said how sorry she was for hurting me, blah, blah, blah. I blocked her number. I knew the moment Patrick got back from Europe because he left an abusive voicemail on my phone about the apartment stinking to high hell and how he will never be able to get the stink out. I laughed. Good luck trying to convince girls to come around now, dickbag. It was satisfying to know my plan with the fish worked, but goddamn it all hurt so much. Patrick was supposed to be my best friend. He can get any woman in the world, so why did he have to swoop in and take my girlfriends? And why the hell did Anna and Renee agree to sleep with him? Anna specifically said he wasn't even her type, and she'd never sleep with a guy like him. I just can't understand any of this at all. I'm in so much pain, and any time I think about it, I just see red from rage. I've just been drinking myself into a stupor, and my parents want me to stop. They said they're really worried about me and want me to go to therapy or seek some kind of counseling. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. Where do I go from here? Thanks for listening.